I just need you to know that there's no trial or test that you have to go through. I already love you through all the hurting.
What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Time is Right podcast. My name is Scott Smith, and I'm your host here on the Time is Ripe. This is a podcast of ripe creatives. We're a ministry based in the great city of Philadelphia. We leverage the arts for the purpose of missions and community transformation initiatives. Here on this podcast, we go back in time to discuss dates that are relevant for our community. A lot of times we're talking about shows where we got booked to go somewhere and perform. Sometimes we are talking about shows that we actually produced ourselves here in the city of Philadelphia. Today's episode is one of those where we are going back to May 14th. It was a Tuesday evening at a place called the Story Factory. We hosted a creatives concert co-bill. I don't know if co is actually the right term because it was tri-bill, I guess, but we called it a co-bill. There were 3 artists that performed at this concert, and 2 of those artists that performed are in the room with me as guests. Before we get to them, got to introduce my other co-host. He's on most of the episodes here on Time is Right. Jarrett Top My Moses, welcome back to the pod.
Thank you. I'm back and ready to talk.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Our 2 other guests were performers on the May 14th Creatives Concert Co-bill. They are also both ripe artists. Hallelujah. We love them so much, and we'll introduce them one at a time. First up, returner to the pod. She was on the Co-bill episode from a year ago. Because she did a creatives concert with us a year ago with Peter Collins, but she was back on this one as well. Leah Wrenne, welcome back to the pod.
Third concert in a row she got to perform at. That's all I'm saying.
Is this the third?
Greetings.
Because she sang background vocals for Soraya.
Oh, yeah.
So it goes Peter. Oh, no, never mind. I'm dumb. We'll cut that out.
No, we're leaving it in. We're leaving it in.
I'm the master editor.
3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. Leah Wrenne, welcome back to the pod.
Greetings. Great to be here.
It's always good to have your voice on an episode. Leah Wrenne does not want to be on this podcast, but we forced her to do this, and it's going to be beautiful. We're glad you're here.
Mm-hmm.
She's nodding if no one can hear her head shaking.
We're not editing anything. Our other guest on today's episode, her second time on the pod as well. She was on the Extend Conference episode last fall in season 2. And she's an amazing singer-songwriter artist. She's a worship leader. She's a barista. She's a photo, video guru. She does all the things. Anh Thai, welcome back to the Time is Right.
Hey, it's so good to be here. What a fun time.
We're going to have a blast together. These 2 beautiful ladies were on these co-bill, tri-bill, whatever you want to call it. The 3rd artist that was on it was a young lady by the name of Emma Nissen, who is from Salt Lake City, Utah. She lives very far away. She's not going to be on today's episode, but we might have a snippet of her at the end if you stay connected all the way till then. Thank you guys for being here. I'm really, really excited for today's episode. Now, before we get into the actual concert on May 14th, Jarrett and I think, have a little bit to say just in terms of the concert plan in general. This is our 4th co-bill. Yeah, I think 4th co-bill because we did Leah Wrenne and Peter Collins, and then we did Soraya and Rashid, and then we did Wildfire and Synovia, which we didn't do an episode about, and then this was our 4th one.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we found in our current venue of the Story Factory Philly is singer-songwriter shows tend to go extremely well.
Yeah.
Live band shows are a little bit harder. And so that was kind of part of, let's do a singer-songwriter show.
Yeah, I think even just from like the genre perspective, it feels like people are more willing to come out on a Tuesday for a singer-songwriter vibe than some like full band rager.
Yeah, it's more of a Tuesday vibe. That's fair.
Yeah.
You mean you don't want to go to a rager on a Tuesday night?
Not with work next day.
What's that song that's like going up on a Tuesday?
Literally.
People don't want to go up on a Tuesday?
People go up on a Tuesday. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we could try it out, but I'll tell you what we would need is a drum shield.
DJ Aunt G on a Tuesday.
Listen, we got a plan. We got a plan for December 10th. I'm just saying. But we would need a drum shield. before we do any ragers at the
Need a
Story
drum
Factory.
shield, need some dampening.
Yeah.
Need a lot.
Yeah, it's a warehouse space, and so to have like hip hop and low end and drums and electric and bass and keys flying through the room, it can be a lot. But for singer-songwriter shows, I think it sounds quite crispy in there. And shout out to Top Mop for making it sound great.
That's right.
The last few Kobos, all of the Kobos have been phenomenal. But coming into this year, I think because of the success of the ones that we had, I think it was around Christmas time, I reached out to Emma Nissen through Instagram, got her email, sent her an email, and then we started talking back and forth and texting and all that kind of stuff. And I think because of the success of the shows, having the content from the shows, being able to show that we're a real thing, this complete stranger to us was open to coming and doing a show with us. But for her, she lives in Salt Lake City, so for her to fly all the way to Philadelphia just for one night, Tuesday night show seemed like a little crazy. And so the goal for her for a while was to try to do a show in New York, try to do a show in DC, and do a show in Philly with us. And unfortunately, none of those other things actually worked out. And so it was like basically gonna not happen, you know, because it didn't really make sense for her to just fly all the way out here just for this little old show with us on a Tuesday night.
Right.
And then something happened. We had a family night here at my house. You guys were both here. There was like 40 people in this room, and it was absurd. And what we did is we FaceTimed Emma, and we just passed the phone around the room, and about 35 people got to say hello to her on the phone from our community, just being like, oh my goodness, hey, how are you? It's good to meet you. Sorry, this is awkward because you don't know who I am. And there was a guy actually in the room. His name's Chase. We love him. And Chase was like, is that Emma Nissen? And he was like freaking out. He was like, I love your stuff. And it was like this beautiful moment. And at the end of the night, after everybody went home, Chase actually stayed for a little while with us. And he just kind of asked the question, like, how important is this show to write? Like, how important is it for this show with Emma Nissen to happen? And I was like, you know, I don't know. Like, we've never met her before. She's amazing as an artist. But I said the real value is for Anh and Leah to get a chance to do the show with her if this were to work out. And he basically was like, okay, well, the plane tickets aren't going to be the reason why she doesn't come. And so Chase graciously and generously basically stepped up and made a massive sacrifice from his own ability to do so and made it happen by getting the plane tickets for Emma to be able to fly out here to do the show. When I went back to Emma and shared this story with her, she was like, oh, we're doing this. Like, because it was generosity that created the opportunity, she's like, this sounds like we got to do this, right? Like, this is a God thing, right? And so that's kind of how this like happened. This isn't like a normal thing for us to be able to get somebody like an Emma Nissen to come in and, you know, fly here and all that kind of stuff. But generosity made the way for it to happen. Anh and Leah, just want to hear from you guys. Like when we started talking about the potential of the show happening and whenever it finally like became a real thing, how did you guys process the opportunity to do the show with her?
I was just excited to just bask in the presence because like she's so talented. Just like looking at her Instagram videos, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like her songs are so catchy, and just like the improvisation that she does like in her songs, I'm just like, this is super cool and amazing. So yeah, I was like, this is real, like this is happening. That's crazy.
Had either of you heard of her before we brought it? Okay, I was gonna say, because I thought Scott had told me that it was funny because you actually asked to be on it, Leah. He was surprised that you asked to be on a show.
Wait, did I?
Oh, you definitely did.
I don't remember. Oh my god.
Oh, you definitely did. Because we usually do 2 artists, right, instead of 3. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to do one with Anh Thai to be on the show, right, for her first time getting a Kobo. You just done with Peter last year. But your love for Emma, it was like, yo, you ain't about to have this show and me not be able to be on the show with her. And we're like, actually, that could be really cool to have 3. And I think even content-wise for Anh, like, to take the pressure off of needing to do a 45-minute set for you as you're just kind of getting into this, like doing a 20 instead of a 45, each of you do 20s, and Emma does a full set, like might actually be great for everybody to take like the pressure off of one person trying to fill the room, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of how that panned out there. But I think it was a match made in heaven. What about you though, in terms of just even possibility to knowing it's a real thing?
So I did know of her via Instagram because she does a lot of stuff on social media that is really, really fun. And initially, like, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then it didn't click to me who she was. And then I searched it up and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, that's amazing. But then my brain, I don't think, was processing really what was happening truly. It was just like, great. Okay, we're doing this. But at the same time, I don't know if I fully understood what was happening just yet until it got closer and closer and closer. And then I got more and more excited. And then like Leah and Emma are just wonderful, wonderful artists. And it was just a privilege for me to be there and to be included. I was just, wow, we're here today, you know?
Amen. Yeah, it was, I think it was just a like perfect fit for both of you and for her. Like even just the flyer itself, shout out to Olivia West. When you saw it and you saw On and you saw Emma and you saw Leah on the flyer together, it was like, oh, this is like so beautiful. Like even just who you are as people, let alone your music and your artistry, but just who you are in like your soul and heart. You three are like incredible. We didn't know Emma was an incredible person, but we found out she's amazing. But you two are like two of the sweetest people in the world. Like want you to succeed and win in every area of your life all the time. And so it made so much sense to give you this opportunity to do a show with kind of a major level artist in Emma Nissen, right? Like she is making some headway. She's one of the fastest growing Christian artists in the country over the last 12 months. You know, she's making a name for herself and thriving. But it's not like you don't deserve that opportunity. You both deserved it because you're both phenomenal artists as well. And it was a perfect fit, in my opinion.
I like the poster. I was like, look at the diversity.
Period. No, yeah. And also, like, thanks, Scott, for advocating for us, you know? Thanks.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Because, you know, we wouldn't.
Yes.
I'm just looking to be here.
This is the biggest challenge of Ripe Creatives, guys, is we have the most amazing people in the world who are overly humble and don't advocate for themselves sometimes. So it's honestly a joy, though. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to get to support you guys in this way and, you know, create an opportunity like this. Getting into actually vision casting the show, Jarrett, you stepped up a huge, huge amount in promoting this show. So you had like a whole vision for that. I would love for you to share what we did there.
I don't know if it was a vision, but it's something that like I had talked to artists at some of our previous events because I had like little run-ins where like I'd get to hang out with them or spend some time with them. And I just wanted to be like, hey, what could we do better from the tech side, from the show side, from anything on it? And the thing that I always got feedback for was like promotion. We have a hard time promoting. Like in Ripe in general, we're not always great at promoting our events because we don't know how. We're still trying to figure that out on how to get our events in front of people. And so I took it and I went to one of our friends that is very good at promotion, Doc Hero. Went to him and I was like, dude, let me just pick your brain. And he sent me like paragraphs of messages of like, this is the type of stuff you want to get it in front of people. This is how people are going to want to react. This is what people are going to want to connect with. This is how you get in their face. And I took that and I was like, all right, let's try and make something. So I then made a group chat with me, Leah, On, and Raph. And I was like, all right, we need to do something. We're going to make up like a fake script or whatever, but we're not even going to use it. We're going to meet up. We're going to make some content, even if it's just like out on the street, outside the Story Factory, if we can get in, even better. And we're going to do something. And it actually lined up perfectly. We were all going to be there for the gallery, the last gallery with Terry. And it worked out perfectly that I was able to get Raph there early. Both of you were able to get there early, On and Leah. And we were just able to crank out like just you two having fun with the people around you, by yourselves, just kind of making up whatever to promote the show, and took that home and were able to make like 5 or 6 reels out of it that somehow turned into like some of the best promotion we've had. I even had one of the artists hit me up after. They're like, wow, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted you to do.
Yeah. And those reels did really well.
Yeah.
You know, they all like did more views than our typical reels would do. And, you know, the word got out. And then you guys both promoted the show individually with friends and family and texting people and letting people know about it as well. It just seemed like it was a really great group effort that I think gave us a vision for what's possible if, you know, we take our time with a show and we promote it super well. The outcome was we filled a room, right? Filled like a really big room in Philadelphia on a Tuesday night that you would not normally see a show be that packed, right? We filled a room because of the reels, because of your guys' promotion. Do you guys just remember shooting the reels? Like, what was that process like for you guys?
I do promotional reels all the time for church, either on the side of like filming it or being in them. So for me, it was fun because it wasn't anything that I haven't done before. It was just like fun and we were laughing, and like I was glad that we were able to use like the outtakes and just to like have the laughing moments in there. So, and Raph and Jarrett are two very hilarious people. So it's easy. It's easy with them. They don't make you feel tense or nervous or anything. So
The amount of outtakes that we got just from me and Raph not being able to not laugh at the awkwardness of what On was doing. Like, what On is doing is great in a video, but as soon as you have to stand there and watch someone do it, you're just like, what am I looking at? Like when you popped out from behind the sign,
that was really cute.
It was so funny.
we did it literally 20 times.
Yes. Yes. Bet you didn't see me there. I was dying.
I love puns and I love corny, cheesy jokes that are very obvious. And so when they caught a glimpse of that, they were just making fun of me. So
To me, it was given like Disney Channel, like, you know,
Yes.
and I love
1000%.
that. I love that. I was like, that is so creative.
I should have brought out my magic wand and traced the Mickey Mouse.
No, you can draw an orange.
True. It's just a circle.
That's a little bit hard. Well, the stem and the
You
leaf.
get a little stem in there.
Well, next time. Who's next?
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But then we got a fun little story time with Leah too. Someone not knowing who you were.
It was a struggle bus for me because I tell people my biggest fears are cameras and microphones. And
We did
that
both.
was I was like, oh no. But yeah, so I was glad that Anh was there because like I felt that made it a little bit easier. And then the whole Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus situation, I didn't know that was going to be like part of the reels. I was like,
didn't
oh, that
either
was just
until I
me
did it.
talking. That was just me talking.
It was really funny. The one that was like all formal of you just like promoting, saying the info of the event. I had to cut that up so much because like you'd be like, I don't know what to say. And then An's like, say we have a show this day. And you're like, we have a show this day. And then An would say the next thing and then you would say it. So I kept having to like cut out each chunk of An telling you what to do.
Because she's professional, y'all. I'm telling you.
She
a
is.
professional.
She a professional promoter. But seriously, that content came out so great. And it was just so playful. And I think it was so on brand with the beauty of the show, you know, that it was just going to be joyful and like a vibe and chill and wonderful. And you guys are. And I think it translated so well in the content. And that helped us promote. And then obviously our MailChimp and our text line and, you know, our own Instagrams, Facebooks, and just texting people, calling people. We had a packed room on a Tuesday night at the Story Factory on May 14th. It was an amazing, amazing event. Now, before we even get into the event, I just want to share Emma. Shout out to Emma. Like, she made such an effort to make this doable for us in every way. So even from the flight standpoint, she flew in on Sunday, left on Wednesday. So she was here for 3.5 days, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of flying in same day, just to save us like money on the flights. And then we assumed we'd have to get her a hotel, which would have basically been more than all the ticket sales, right? And she was like, no, I'll just stay with you. at your house, like for free. Like I would love to just stay with you guys and make this easy. Like I just need a room with a bed. Like I'm cool. And then her mom ends up coming and we're like, oh my goodness, we got to find a place to put her mom up. She's like, no, my mom's going to like stay with me in the same room. And we're like, what? Like, can we get you an air mattress and a separate room? They're like, no, we just want to stay together. Like, we love each other. This is my mom. Like, we just want to be together and we want to make this easy on you guys. So at every corner, Emma just made things so simple comparatively to how diva people can be. She's the anti-diva. You know what I mean? Like, she really, really is. And so it was just a joy to get to spend those 3 days with her. We got to go.
You didn't even get to spend that much time with her because she also took advantage of that time and jumped in the studio with some producers that she's been wanting to work with and got to spend like a good chunk of those days ironing out the details of a song.
Yeah. So Sunday we were together, and then Monday I dropped her off at Milk Boy Studios downtown where she was meeting up with Adam Blackstone. And if you don't know who Adam Blackstone is, you live under a rock. But Adam Blackstone has been the MD for multiple Super Bowls, stuff on the Grammys, and he's like one of the biggest music producers in the world. He happens to be from Philadelphia. He's an amazing guy. He loves Jesus too. And he's world-class producer. He and Emma connected through Emma's stuff going viral online. And so they got to do a show together in New York a few months before our show. And so with her being in town, they wanted to get in the studio together. So they actually cut her next record in the studio while she was here. And then she came home to the family night Monday night and actually played the song for everybody in this house at family night, which is just like, also, who's doing that? Like this is like a really big deal that you got to work with this guy. Most people would keep that close to the vest. She was like, I want to show these people I just met my baby that I just made in the studio with Adam Blackstone. It's like really, really special person. Tuesday was the day of the show. We got to have a great time there. Her mom was a blast as well. Getting into the whole show, the day of the event, Jarrett, you also not only did the promotional reels and all that kind of stuff, you also like went all in with the stage design. So I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
It was a testing ground. I was like, you know what, this is probably one of the like bigger names we've had and will have for a while, just because we try to stick with so many Philly local artists. The fact that we're flying someone in, and I'm like, all right, this is a big deal. Let's try and treat it like a big deal. And so we actually came up with a stage plot for the first time ever for one of our concerts. I think normally we're just like, yeah, just get up there. We'll just put your stuff there. We'll plug it in. It's fine. And then for this, it was just trying to come up with creative ways to like fill the stage, because the singer-songwriters, like, they sound beautiful, but it can be somewhat boring to look at. So I tried to like fill out the stage so it didn't feel so empty, and also help the artist because they don't feel like quite so isolated up there. They've got stuff around them to kind of help out. Yep.
It was really kind of a cool, like, you came up with all this lighting stuff and LED strips on microphone stands, and it was just like a really cool aesthetic that we had never had before. Yeah. And I think it's going to pop on the YouTube videos whenever they drop. You'll get a chance to be able to check out what it looked like. But it's a really, really, really beautiful set. Getting into the actual night, Leah Wrenne does the opening set. Anh Thai does the middle set. Emma does the closing set. I would love to just talk through the sets, like how you guys felt about the night in terms of the songs that you did and, moments you had on stage, all that kind of stuff. We can start with Leah because you were the first one up on stage.
I was. Okay, so the first one, the first song that I did was Carry My Burdens, and it's Emily's favorite. And I was like, also, I get super nervous. I was like, Emily, please, if you love me, you will do this. And she did. Because she does love me.
She was not happy with you that night.
But it's okay because I love you so much, Emily. You're amazing. Thank you. Can't wait for your music. So yeah, and then from there I went into a track, which I usually don't do. But I was working on a song with my friend, and I'm really excited for that. It's going to be released this year. Woo-hoo. But Thank you. Yay. Yeah, so that one was really fun because it also was like very much R&B vibes, which I also don't typically do. But yeah, the whole time, like for the set, I was like, Lord, my prayer is just for peace and joy. And I felt like that's what the set gave. Like, I feel like it was just super fun. Like I wasn't in my head about it or like overthinking anything. Like it just felt fun. Even like talking to the crowd. I was like, y'all ever been delusional? And I was surprised people raised their hand. I said, you know what? This is a safe space. Yes, we could talk about it. But it just felt like I was in a room full of friends and it didn't feel like weird, which was really fun.
You were in a different element that night.
Yeah.
It was like you walked out and flipped a switch.
Yeah, that was, maybe I need like another alter ego. Like a third one. Can I have three? Can I have three different personalities?
There's Ashley, there's Leah, and maybe make Ash
I need
the other
something
half of your name.
Yeah, something else. Cause yeah, I definitely felt like different too, which was really cool. And then seeing On perform, literally your tone is just so clear and peaceful. Like literally when 3 a.m. comes on my Spotify, I'm like, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. And like just even the way that you embellish the song with like different like riffs and stuff, I'm just like, girl. And they're so clean. They're so clean. I was like,
You want to be talking about clean riffs and runs, Miss runs 1,000 miles per second.
girl, I was in awe. It's like, they're so clean. I'd be having to practice like to get mine to be, but like yours just felt so effortless and like, yeah, it was beautiful.
Yours is, and forever will be effortless because you breathe and it sounds like a melody.
It's facts. You guys both absolutely killed it. Yeah, Leah, for sure. Just like to stop on yours first, like you killed it, and I think even dragging Emily Phillips into it, right, as much as she didn't want to have that, I think it is like, it's an encouragement to her to take a step forward the same way that you did at the last show with, your fake niece that I didn't know was a fake niece, right? But with Naya, but like that idea of like empowering others and putting people on stage. Marcus also accompanied you again, Marcus Lambert. So amazing, like way of utilizing everything that you have access to make the set unique. But you just, again, 2 creatives in a row, you felt super comfortable. And yeah, both experiences, the show last year with Peter Collins, doing that full set, and even with this mini set here on May 14th. I mean, you're thriving as an artist, not just as a singer on other people's sets, not just as a vocalist for other people's things, not just as a worship leader at church on Sundays, but as the artist Leah Wrenne. Like, you have something that nobody else carries, that's just you, and it deserves to be seen and heard. So you need to know that too.
Stop trying to make thugs cry, Scott.
It was beautiful. Shout out to you, dog.
Shout out to Jesus.
Yo, you killed that, John. You really did. The first and last song, Created Me. My God, that song is so good. It is so stinking good. And what was the last song? What's the last song that you did?
It was I Already Love You.
Yes. That song rocked the room. I mean, the whole set was beautiful, but those 2 like really stand out as just like moments for the room. Yeah, it was so beautiful to see you do this. And did we have a moment before the show where you were struggling? Like, am I supposed to be doing this or something? Why did I address that on stage? Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember really, but I feel like that's a lot of my thinking anyway when it comes to performing and music and all that stuff. I'm like, if I'm not meant to be doing this, God, I don't want to do it. But it's like,
I think you just talked about that in your set.
Yeah, maybe you did during the set.
Probably in the set. Yeah, probably during the time we're in between talking,
Yeah.
like I just always my mindset and my heart is that like I only want to do what the Lord wants me to do. And for me, performing is hard because I don't like it. I don't like doing it, and I don't like seeing people look at me because I'm awkward and I'm sweating and my heart is pounding at a like it's like I'm shaking, like my leg was shaking uncontrollably. And I was like, chill. Like I literally had to like mentally split my mind into singing the song, playing the guitar, but also like trying to like focus on my leg so that it doesn't like kick my shoe off or something, or I don't slip off the stool. Anyway, so yeah, like for me, performing is very hard. It's different than worship leading because worship, you know, we lead people to Jesus and people are in their own space and element with the Lord and nobody's looking at you really. But performing, it's like you're putting your whole heart out there. You're sharing your actual story. And it's like one thing to talk person to person about this, but then it's another to like pour out your whole heart and everything that you are into a song and then like telling people to listen to it. And I'm like, I'm uncomfortable with that. But apparently it helps people. So if it helps people.
Can I say something? Okay. So honestly, I be feeling the same way. And like I felt the same way since I was like, I don't know, I guess since I started. But like to me, it reminds me of Moses and how he was like, I'm not called to speak. Like I stutter. What are you talking about, God? And God was like, okay, but I called you though, didn't I? And so he had to do what he had to do. But I think it's not even like, do I feel comfortable? Because like sometimes the comfort can come and sometimes it can go. Like I feel like sometimes I'm comfortable, sometimes I'm not. But you are called.
As are you.
She said, "Let me put up the mirror real quick."
Not the Uno reverse.
As
The
are
Uno
you.
reverse car.
We are called. Yeah. But every time I go on stage, I wrestle with that. But it's, you know, we wrestle with the Lord, but ultimately we obey.
Yeah.
And so, and honestly, like every time this happens, like I always go through this dialogue with the Lord. I'm like, if it's your will, I'll do it. And so, and then always afterwards, he'll show me how it is, because there was a girl coming up to me afterwards and she was literally in tears. She was in tears, which made me cry. So we're both in tears. And she was just like, thank you, like literally thank you. And I can feel the Father's heart for her. And I felt like, especially with I Already Love You and Created Me, they're two drastically different songs for two drastically different mindsets. The first song, Created Me, is very much of like, I feel far away from the Lord, but I want to get close, but I know I'm far. Or I feel far. And I feel like the sin is all I can see. And I feel like the cycle is all I can see. And I'm struggling, but I'm admitting it. I Already Love You is like the Father's response to your feelings about those things. And it's like, he's saying that like, it doesn't matter. I don't care about any of those things. I just love you. And I love you just because I love you. That's who I am. And so to see a person come up to me and tell me that like, that was the response that they got, because they were able to take it in and they had words to what they were feeling, but then they also received the love of the Father in response to it, which is like the goal. And so I literally felt like I saw like a prodigal moment right in front of my eyes. And there were many of those, like people came up and just like reassured, and they're saying things like, I needed that, or like, thank you, or like literally, you're anointed. I'm like, that can mean so many things, but it's like, I feel like God always reassures me of why he wants me to do it. And it's never for me. It's always for them, for his children, for the people that he loves dearly, because I got it. And I'm like soaking in the love of the Father, which is where those songs came from. And he's like, yeah, that's not all that there is. There's more for other people, you know, because he always is more than just us. So yeah, but initially it was like putting together a set list at this point is very simple for me because I don't have that many songs and I don't really do covers. So it was like, all right, we'll just do the songs that I wrote. That's it.
Yeah.
And so that was an easy part, but the hard part is guitar, because singing and playing at the same time while you're like trembling is like not fun. But I digress.
Yes. I want to say something about the song thing too. One, everything you just said is beautiful. And I think the biggest takeaway that we all need to have is our art is not for us. It's not. I mean, sometimes it is just for us and the Lord, right? And that's cool. But typically, God gives it to us to give to somebody else. The same way that every sermon you hear from a pastor, God gave them that word for them, but then they're presenting it to the room of people that they're called to lead and shepherd to give it to them. So they get a download and they give it away. Then we as receivers of that word are supposed to actually take that, apply it to our lives, and give it to others, right? Like the word of God should be on our lips more often and more often. Music has the ability to take that word and through creativity make it even more palpable for somebody to feel it, not just hear it. And so you have a calling to do that. I'll say two things. One, if you only have those 2 songs or those 3 songs or those 4 songs for the rest of your life, you still have a ministry with that. Like, because they're that potent of songs that everybody and their mama should hear those songs and have the opportunity to experience those songs in a room like you did. Please write more songs. Amen. But even just with those, like it's already enough to make an impact and make an impression and make a difference. I'm glad you had a moment where somebody actually showed you that it made an impact on them, because you did. It was so palpable in the room, both of you. Like what you did on stage made an impression in people's hearts. There's something different about being live than just streaming a song on Spotify. That can be a different moment in the car by yourself, in the closet, whatever, like listening to a song and you're like, man, this affects me. In the room, it just does something different. There's something different that can happen when you get to actually minister that song in the ways that you did, So I'm just super proud of both of you. But like we had that moment after your set where I kind of like made you stop walking. And I was like, I just want to speak to this over your life, that you are called to this. This is a part of who you are. This is something you're supposed to do. You don't need to question it. And the room just erupted for you. And I hope that was an encouragement to you.
Very much so. Yeah, I definitely needed that. Not like as in the reassurance, but as of like, yeah, like this is a part of the way that the Lord made me. And so, yeah. But also, Leah, it was nice to see you have fun on stage.
Thank you.
And in your talking moments with the people, I think they really appreciated your just like authenticity of just you being you. And it was fun and it was uplifting and it was soulful and beautiful. And girl, your voice is unlike any other person's voice I've ever heard. It's literally one of a kind.
Thank you. Don't try to make me cry. Like, oh my gosh.
You guys are awesome. I love it. After you two absolutely kill it, we could have just ended the night right then and there and left the room. But we did not do that, because Emma Nissen got on stage, and as good as I knew she already was, she was better than that. I have seen her videos. I've listened to her Spotify full production stuff. She's amazing. In person, she was even better than I thought she was. Her set was disgusting. What do you guys remember about Emma Nissen's set?
The way she loves to yap. I love her so much. She got on and she fully was like, guys, I love to talk. And talk she did. But it was like amazing because it was truly like a performance. It was truly a show. She reeled people in, kept their attention, and then brought them on for a journey, which is like a performer is like, you can write songs and you can produce them, but then when you play them live, it's a different experience, because if you have no stage presence, it's not fun, like it can be like, oh, it's good music, yada yada yada, but then like they don't really attach a moment to it. But like that, her set was like a moment. She brought us in, she introduced herself, she showed us her personality, who she is, what she's like, and you got a glimpse of like, if I was her friend, like this is what it would be like. And so it was really cool to like literally establish a friendship with her as she is on stage, as she's showing us these songs. So like I love her personality. I love her stage presence. She literally like lights up the room and the stage. And it was just her and a keyboard, but she made it so full and it was so fun. There was not like a dull moment at all.
I really loved like the performance aspect of it, like with her talking, because like I feel like that really just like gave something different. The one song that I really remember was Breathe. I love the way that she improvises, like the scatting and then even putting like quick words, because that's something that I love to do too, like putting like a whole bunch of words together, like you get like the little consonants and just like a whole bunch of syllables. It just sounds so cool. But she did it effortlessly. Like it was just so good. And when she brought her mom up,
That was also my
and she was like,
favorite,
"Take it away, Maria." First of all, the fact that she on a first name basis with her mom, like that's something I will never know. But like that was hilarious to me.
I love the part where she's saying, spun her chair around.
Yes, was still going.
And was still going. It was amazing.
It's like, girl, breath control is something. Okay, those are lungs of life.
Yeah, that was ridiculous with the chair. I mean, that'll be probably on one of these videos that pops out on our YouTube page, I would assume, but absolutely hysterical. She's just like incredibly vivacious personality-wise on and off the stage, but man, she's a performer. Like I knew she could sing. I did not know, oh, this is a like show. This is like a circus act on stage. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot happening, a lot going
you're
on.
like laughing, but then you're like in awe, and then you're laughing again, and then your jaw drops. And it's like kind of a great experience because you're feeling 500 things at the same time.
Yeah, she's one of one. I mean, she is as famous, quote unquote, as she is right now. She is going to be a household name. If you do not know Emma Nissen, look her up because she is phenomenal and worth all of your time spent watching her videos and listening to her music. And it'll be fun for us to put out a few videos as well. Emma obviously couldn't be on today's episode, but she actually sent us a voice memo, and that'll share a little bit of her heart and what she experienced on stage and being in Philadelphia, and kind of some words from her right here.
Hey guys, it's Emma Nissen, and I so wish that I was in Philly doing this right now, but alas, I am back in Utah. But I have a newfound love and appreciation for so many things that I would be remiss if I did not just say hello and thank you here on this Ripe Creatives podcast. So first of all, Philly, what the heck, I love ya. Like, you guys showed up, and it was incredible. I learned the word John. I don't think I'm saying it right, and it doesn't completely make sense to me because I have heard it in so many different contexts that I don't understand it, but I will persevere. Second, thank you to Chase for being a blessing and just a wonderful human being and being willing to fly me into Philly. That was incredible. And for Scott and his wife for hosting me and Maria, who has FOMO and decided she could not miss what turned out to be an incredible show. And so she flew all the way over as well. And thank you just to Ripe Creatives for putting on just a spectacular space for people and creating this wonderful community. But also just this show was incredible. I mean, I showed up and I don't know really like what my expectation was, having never been to Philly before, but then people just showed up with the biggest hearts and just massive smiles. I'm looking around during Leah and An's performance and just like, okay, yeah, we're all seeing the magic being made right now. Which leads me to Leah and An. What? My jaw was on the floor the whole time. So good. The wispy melismas of just, like, I can't even come close to what I saw and heard and witnessed. It was so good. Anyway, basically, I loved this experience. It was, I'm even getting choked up. You just cut that out, okay, Scott? I loved this experience. It was incredible. The people had just welcome and open hearts and arms and minds, and there was lots of love and laughter and goodness. And yeah, man, Philly, you are on my radar. I got to come back.
Shout out to Emma. it was great to have her here. It was a phenomenal show. All three of you guys did an absolute amazing job. Post show, just would love to hear like any other, on you kind of shared that story about the girl who came up to you. But do either of you guys have any other just moments like post show after Emma said, or maybe even after your set while she was on, like just interactions that you had with anybody in the room that are worth sharing with the audience here on Time Is Right?
I just felt super supported by people that I grew up with that I hadn't seen in a really long time. One of my cousins surprised me and showed up, and I was like, I literally cried because just seeing God do things that like you never really thought were possible. Like, yeah, I just was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe you're here. And like, it was just, yeah, it was super cool. So I was glad I got that moment. And of course my mom was there because she's always there. But yeah.
Yeah, similarly, I was like, wow, I felt very grateful and thankful for the people in my life that like encouraged me to be able to do this and to push me to do this. And like the entire way I knew people were praying for me, the entire way I knew people loved me and actually really believed in me and championed me to do this, but not for like, oh yeah, because you make good music and because you need to be famous or whatever the heck, but like, no, these people believe that like we are called to be the light. And if this is the way that I'm meant to be the light, they see it and they're calling it out. Yeah, it was really special for me when one of my best friends, Mia, was able to be in town for this because she lives in LA. And so it was really special. And my other bestie, Olivia, was also there. And then my other bestie, Jessica, was also there. And it meant a lot for her to be there too, as like one of the last moments that I have with her before she moved to Spain. As we were speaking, she is there right now because the Lord has called her to spread the gospel over there. So it was just really sweet for the month of May to have all of the people that I loved there in one place, all supporting me, which is like one of the biggest blessings I could ever ask for. And my family couldn't be there, but my family was there. And yeah, it was just really special. And like I said, it was one of those, like, I care about the people and how it impacts the people way more than I care about the actual songs. I feel like I'm not really harsh on myself when it comes to mistakes or literally anything like that, because I did forget the lyrics for one of the songs. But it was a funny moment. And I'm not very harsh on myself about the actual performance and technicalities and stuff, because we live and we learn and it's all good. But what I care about is how it impacts the people. And from what I was hearing from people coming up to me afterwards was that they needed it and they affirmed the need that I need to do it and to keep going. And so it was like confirmation for a lot of things, encouragement for my life, really. And also like, it was comforting to know that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Yeah. And it just was a great opportunity to be a part of a culture and a time where we get to do things like this together with the Ripe family, and everyone is on this journey together. It is a little uncomfortable and difficult at times, but like we know that this isn't about us. And so we keep getting reminded. I keep getting reminded whenever Leah sings, whenever like Rashid sings, whenever Demir raps, whenever Abel raps, like all of it points back to like it's more than just us. And so it keeps me going, basically.
Amen. That's so good. It was I left this event saying to Jarrett, actually, I said, I think this is one of the best events we ever did, and it's not to compare or contrast, between different shows or the galleries or the open mics, but there was just something about this event that stood out to me, that it was just like, man, this was amazingly beautiful of a situation. And I think what's cool is like from an outcome perspective, right? Like this was not the highest netting, but our highest grossing event ever, like in terms of actual ticket sales, which like is not the reason why we do the shows. Most of the shows we do, we lose money on. So the first show we actually ever made a couple dollars on, ever, and I think 6 years of doing creatives, 5 years of doing creatives. This is the first time we're ever like quote unquote profitable as an event because the support was there, because you guys promoted the show super well, because of the reels, because Emma Nissen has a big fan base, like all those things kind of work together for us to be able to actually do a show that we didn't lose money on, that would impact our ability to do an outreach down the line, like this is our outreach. Creatives is an outreach, right? And there's a lot of people that come to our shows that don't know Jesus, and they're probably not going to go to church on Sunday morning, but will come to a show where Jesus is being talked about and explained and expressed creatively through these songs or these poems or whatever it is that we do. They come to our shows. And so we get a chance to do ministry in real time. And I just left the show being like, wow, that's what we envisioned 6 years ago when we launched Creatives Philly to begin with. And we've had a lot of experiences that have been beautiful, but that night stands out to me as a really, really, really special marker for us as a ministry, as an organization, and as a platform, that like we hit a different level that night, if that makes sense. So yeah, thank you guys for being a part of that. Thank you. Like you don't realize, but the success of that show will impact the next co-bill. There will be people who will come to the next one because you did well, right? There will be people that will come to an open mic this summer because they came to that show with you too, that if you didn't lean in and be excellent at what you do, they don't come and get impacted themselves in a different way the next time. It all builds together. Every event makes the next one successful. So yeah, I'm excited for the future, And I also think a big outcome, Jarrett, you can speak to this well. I thought having 3 instead of 2 artists perform at the Story Factory for the concert was like, I never want to change that.
I don't know if I'd say that. I think it depends on the performers just from the tech aspect, but it definitely helped in the way it got people in the room, because it just gave us more of a wider net being cast out there of people who would come to the show, versus if it was only On and Emma, or if it was only Leah and Emma, or only Leah and On. Like having 3 people, it hit more possible people in the room to come see all 3.
Yeah. I just, like we used to do concerts with one artist.
Yes.
And we could fill a room with one artist.
In a much smaller room.
In a smaller room. But the Story Factory, it was like, let's do 2. And at times we've done okay with that, but at times we've struggled to fill that room because it's so big. And I think just having 3, like you said, like I think it was like, oh, this is the perfect size lineup for this room. How do you fill the room this big? 3 artists actually have a much better chance of doing that than 2. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I thought it was like a really good picture.
I like the thought of 3 people. It was fun.
I thought it was special also for you guys to have that experience together specifically, right? Which might not always be the case for 2 artists, but it felt like you 2 kind of connected through this in a way that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity to do so.
1000%.
It's beautiful. Thank you guys for being great, for being amazing. Jarrett, thank you for making it sound all crispy perfect in the room.
No, literally, thank you, King, because it sounded so good.
It was perfection. It sounded so great.
And the stage looked beautiful.
Amen. It did. Go ahead, Top Mop Productions. Book this man for your next event. He's bookable. So is Leah Wrenne. So is Anh Thai. They're amazing artists, musicians. And, they should get all the opportunities in the world. That's why we did this at Creatives, but we'd love for you guys to reach out to them and bring them in for your own show sometime, somewhere, someplace.
So we can eat. So we can survive.
Because artists need lunch money.
Artists do need lunch money. Shout out to Antonio. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. At the end of the day, we do this podcast to say thank you to the people who partner with us to be able to make shows like this possible. even with this specific show being profitable, it wouldn't have been if we had to pay for a hotel. It wouldn't have been if we had to pay for plane tickets. So shout out to Chase for partnering with us specifically in that way to bring Emma in. We love you and appreciate you for that. But thank you to all of our partners that enable us to be able to do this even when the events aren't profitable, right? To do the next show and take the next risk. Without your support, none of what we do is possible. All of our artists getting travel gigs and going on tours and throwing events, throwing outreaches, everything we do is because of your financial partnership. So thank you for supporting us to do this stuff. If you're here and you don't currently partner with us, jump on our website, ripecreatives.com, look at our mission, vision, values, look at the artists on our roster, the Ripe Worship team, the events that we throw. Please consider partnering with us so that we can do more stuff to make much of who Jesus is through the arts here in the city of Philadelphia and around the region. We love y'all, and thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Emma Nissen, we love you. Thank you for flying into Philly. Can't wait to have you back. And until next time, y'all, stay right.
So let out your fears, let out your tears.